Why, hey there, Anthony.
Hi. Can you tell me more about the steps of the trial?
Well, of course, as a successful lawyer that I am, I definitely would like to talk to you about the steps of the trial.
Yay.
The opening statements are presented by both the prosecution and the defense, and this basically establishes the foundations of arguments on both sides. The case is presented at hand by both the prosecution and the defense, and they basically introduce their sides of the argument and is very crucial at the initial stages of the trial.
Oh, I see. Now, what is the direct examination?
Well, the direct examination happens by both the prosecution and the defense, and their job is to basically make their side more convincing by examining witnesses. And this is very important because it basically gets their stories across by the prosecution and defense's witnesses.
And what's a cross-examination?
Well, the cross examination is important. It's taken on by both parties in the trial, the prosecution and the defense. And their job, the lawyers who are cross examining, is to discredit the witness on either the prosecution or defense's side in order to establish the legitimacy of their stories and to discredit the opposing party's story.
And what's a closing statement?
Well, the closing statements is basically the final ribbon on the entire case. And it basically is the last chance that, well, for the defense and the prosecution to establish their story and to convince the jury or the judge that their case is the most legitimate and their story is true to the fact.
I see. Now, how about the rebuttal?
Well, the rebuttal is basically a chance for specifically the prosecution to fight against any sort of statement made by the defense and to finally make a story credible. Basically, the process in the trial was very successful on our end as prosecution, and we're glad that the final instructions to the juries were made clear. Justice was served, and the prosecution won the case.
So now that I know what the steps of the trial are, can you tell me what this case was about?
Well, of course, Anthony. Basically, on October 31st, the night of Halloween, there was an incident at Gus and Ginny's gas station. And unfortunately, there was a confrontation, and several men with masks made of paper bags, they came in and confronted the store owners, and unfortunately, someone's pet got shot in the incident.
Yay!
Yeah, so the three men accused and in the trial were three men by the name of Augie Johnson, Doogie Little, okay, and finally Murky Waters. And Murky Waters was a suspected getaway driver of the incident, and the three of them hopped into one car and they drove off and they left this disastrous wake behind them, which is why in the courts it's very important for us to bring these terrible men to justice.
Wow. That's really interesting.